even for the ones who've been using. So hopefully with the American people understanding that, with young people and children in particular now beginning to form their own youth groups to fight back within their own neighborhoods with their own friends, we can do a turnaround on this and change the opinion of people that there is such a thing as, quote, recreational drug use, and make that unacceptable.
Judge Kelley, of course, when you see these drug abusers, you have them in a situation where you can demand the EMIT test and the stress evaluation.
The judge is the only person who can require someone to do something he doesn't want to do.
How can we fight that, though, with the rest of the population? Obviously, this problem is not confined to hardcore criminals.
Well, you can't fight it. I can't motivate someone unless I have some authority over him. But we can continue the fight by such organizations as Pride through education of the children and the parents and the schools and the churches. And of course, we've got to recognize the fact that it's wrong to use the drugs. And I think that law enforcement should be encouraged to make cases against users as well as drug dealers, and let the juvenile court judge and the state court and the recorder's court judge and the superior court judge deal with those things, because we have the authority to do just that.
Some of your programs have been controversial over the years.
Oh, yes, they have.
That seems to have died down a little bit lately. Do you think that's because perhaps there has been an attitude change among the average members of society about drugs, or do you think it's just all been hashed out in the legal system enough now that it's not going to be a problem anymore? Or?
Well, I think the figures themselves speak for themselves. We were controlling the jail population through the use of these programs prior to 1985, when funds were discontinued, and we were sending a relatively few people to the penitentiary because we were able to change their attitudes and to teach them the laws of living in society. And that's the name of the game, is to teach them how to live in harmony with their neighbors. You know, the cause of crime is a lack of morality, not a lack of money. And when children are allowed to think like criminals, the result is quite obvious. They become criminals. And that's where the parents have got to take a firm hand. You're not going to look at that show. You're not going to that movie that glorifies crime and criminal activity and the bad guy always being the good guy, the top star, or something like that. You just can't tolerate it in our society.
I'll ask both of you gentlemen this question, though. How does a parent counteract that? My little girl will tell you one of the expressions that she uses that just sets me off more than any other is, "But Daddy, everybody else is doing it." How do you counter that?
Dr. Gleaton can best answer that.
Well, everybody is, I've got a 12-year-old. I don't know how old yours is. But when she's
about 10. So.
Okay, when she says everybody's doing it, that means those 3 or 4 best friends. That's everybody. That's that child's world with everybody. So first you got to understand that. But secondly, she's not everybody. She's your daughter, you love her, you care for her, and you say, but you're not everybody, you're my daughter. My daughter said the other day, can I have Madonna's record? And I said, what's the name of it? She said, it's called Daddy Don't Preach. And I said, what do you think that means? And she said, I think it means what you're going to do when you listen to that record. And I said, yes, you can have it, because I want you and I to sit down and listen to that record, and we're going to talk about Madonna. We're going to talk about her being the centerfold and the playboy. We're going to talk about her lifestyle, and we're going to talk about that being unacceptable to this family and to you and I and the way we grow up and live life. And I use it as a lesson. You cannot hide the child in the closet, but you can spend a little time listening to the lyrics on those records and what she's saying and what she's doing in her lifestyle, and make a choice early in life not to follow that lifestyle.
But I imagine there are a lot of parents who've tried that, or who say they've tried that, and maybe copped out, and some of them who really have tried it and still have had problems with their children growing up.
Absolutely. There is no crystal ball that anyone can look into, I think, at this time in our history and say that we know that our children are not going to use drugs, are not going to become involved. It can happen. You can have the perfect child that one night is in the certain position that they cannot withstand the peer pressure. That can be at age 15, it can be at age 10 maybe, when that peer pressure begins. But what we as parents have to do is the very best we can, give them the best information, the best tools we can give them before they reach that point. And when they reach it, they may reflect back and say, I know how I can get out of this.